Greetings, greetings, greetings. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. There's so many directions I can take this video in, so many different avenues, so many different angles. On the last episode, for those of you that keep up with them, I spoke about how I was going to delve more deeply into sexual rituals and helping you to understand why they exist and I guess the scientific purpose behind them. Now, to fully understand sexual rituals from my research, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of studying. Like a lot of stuff that I talk about comes from many different angles in life. I'm nowhere near religious, so I don't give you explanations to stroke your ego, where you talk about people that may be in Hollywood and they got to do these sex rituals so they can get fame and they can get fortune and so they can get to the top, and all of this is satanic and all of this is a sin. And those people that watch my channel, I delve and try to go to the root of things, into the very meaning of things. And the term sin comes from sensation. That's right. The only sin is your sensations. And we all have sensations, right? We all want to feel good in various different ways. Well, this is what sin literally means. So when you talk about judging a person for what they do, predicated upon their sensations or what gratifies them, you really can't do it. You really can't do it. And the only thing you can really do is try to put a guilt trip on a particular person by making them think that you're judging them, because you really can't scientifically judge anybody else, because every time you judge someone else, you're judging yourself, because it's coming from your thoughts. So you have no power to judge anyone else, but what you can do is cause a person to judge their self by putting your selfish ideas and your selfish thoughts on people. So I want to kind of like make this a prelude to the video, because I may talk about a few things in the video that may, for some people may seem like, well, this is wrong, or this is, when sex comes up, it's very taboo in our society and people get really funny acting. When you talk about sex in general, like it's something that, of course, now it's becoming more acceptable. I will say that. Just different, people have different forms of sexuality, different ways that they want to express themselves. So it's becoming more acceptable, and people are talking about sex from an alternative perspective a lot more. But you still have that crowd out there that's like super, and they're in the conscious community actually. Like in the mainstream community, you can get away with talking about, well, this person like Bruce Jenner, he had a sex change X, Y, and Z, and nobody really cares. But in the conscious community, they still judge Bruce Jenner for doing what he did, and there's still this religious overtone, even though you call yourself conscious, but you still have this religious programming when it comes to certain topics when they come up, and sex is one of them. Because in the end of the day, you just brought your religion into the conscious circles and the conscious community. So be careful, guys, out there, for people that, you up under these teachers and gurus, and it's really like they're just preachers. You really are not doing anything different than what you are experiencing, anything different than what you would have gotten in religion. You see, like it's all about leaders and followers and people looking up to someone, and that's not conscious, just like I've talked about in other videos. So a lot of my research that I am going to base this video on comes from this particular book. It's a really good book on karmic astrology. And for me, there's always a history behind each book that I own, and this book actually is jointly owned by me and my partner. Some of you have met her, Cobra Lee. So we both own this particular book. So this is not mine, or it's not hers. And just the whole story behind like me and Cobra Lee and how we linked up is interesting, because it kind of ties into this book. And before Cobra Lee, you guys knew me on YouTube and things of that nature. Before my partnership started with her, you guys knew me on YouTube, but you didn't know what I was going through in my personal life. So I kind of want to share a few things that's still on topic of karmic astrology, because this is how karma works. So I have owned a lot of books. I owned a lot in general, from the time of between 2012 and this all happened between 2012 and 2014, early 2014. So between 2012 and early 2014, I owned a lot. Even though I did a lot of traveling and moving around, I owned a lot. And what happened was is that I ended up, since I do so much traveling, of course you can't carry this all on your back. And you guys know I didn't believe in the time in owning a car or a vehicle, because I could have been bought a car or a vehicle at any time back then, the way things were going or whatever, but I chose not to. So since I chose not to buy or purchase a car or vehicle, I decided to get a storage, right? So I ended up getting a storage and storing a lot of my spiritual items, like my crystals and all of these things in this particular storage unit down in Atlanta, Georgia, called Extra Storage. And things were cool, and I had that storage there. But what I got into late, like around early 2014, I went to the next level in this sovereignty thing that you guys hear me talk about. And I went to the next level with that. So when I went to the next level with that, of course, that came with, it was a lot of karma as to why I have to be that, and why I chose to be sovereign too. I kind of want to point this out, because most people feel like I'm just doing this just to look good, or just to sound deep, because I'm a spiritual teacher and I want to stick out. Like, no, I didn't find the sovereignty movement, it found me. Since I was the age of 14, I didn't know that certain things happened in my life to where now it was karmic. By the time I hit my Saturn return, I found out stuff that happened to me secretly in relationship to my identity and things of that nature, to where I had to become sovereign to free myself from the yoke and the oppression that this government will put you up under, certain people. And I was one of the people that was abducted. Well, let's just say I was abducted into this particular experiment that was spearheaded by individuals that were high up in government and things of that nature at the age of 14, to where you can kind of say it was similar to me being an expat. And what an expat is that an expat is one who essentially has no paperwork tied in with the United States government type of thing, like as far as any contracts, is what it really comes down to. So they have no driver's license, they have absolutely no contracts with the government. So I was expatted, however I was secretly patted back in, and this happened all without me knowing about it at the age of 14. But what happened was is that my name was used to tie into various different organizations, charities. Mortgages were basically took out on my name, and basically I was essentially more like a piece of property, is what it really truly turned out to be. And of course they didn't let me know this, so like when I would go, when I was young or whatever, I used to work different jobs and stuff like that before I, got into other things and of that nature, because I was an entrepreneur for a long period of time too. But between the years of, at the age of 15 up until about 20, I worked a lot of jobs. I did a lot of that type of stuff or whatever, and I didn't know that, in the course of me working these jobs, is people trading, using my name to trade through companies on the stock market. It's all kind of companies trading on the stock market based upon my name. And I didn't know this stuff until my Saturn return hit, which was like 28 or 29. So that's my karma. And there's a lot more to that story. I'll have to talk about that in another video, but it's always good for the listeners to know the guy that they're listening to. That's how I look at it, or the gal or whatever, to know a little bit about, like, so how did you get involved in all of this? Like, what is your story? Because I would rather me tell you the story than someone else that's going to lie and put, their spin on the story. I'll tell you from the horse's mouth what happened with me. But a lot of that happened because of past life karma that I had, and that's why this book is deep. Because I'm not going to go into tell you where my nodes are in my natal chart. I'm not going to do that. Because, I don't like revealing a lot of my birth information. But I'll just say, needless to say, that my nodes are very significant, my north and south node, and this is based on your past life and your present life, and even leading into information about your future life. So I realized in a past life some things happened with me. And I got a reading, shout out to a particular sister by the name of Ebony. I got a Akashic record reading from Ebony, and she confirmed everything that was in this book, and then stuff that I had had dreams about. And she didn't even know anything about me reading this book. So I know this stuff that happened to me in a past life is real. It's a reason why basically that my identity was usurped into this government program at a young age. So with that, that was my karma. And that's what I had to go through. So rewinding back and going back to 2014. So, now I'm getting into the sovereignty thing so I can figure out how to redeem myself. Redemption is what it really truly is. In me getting into that, what basically happened is that I had to go to the next level, and I found out that the storage that I had all my stuff stored in, to make a long story short, was being used by third parties to draw funds to my channel. And the channel that I own, and the channel that I own, and other associates and other investors, help us with the channel as well. So I will say that. But at the end of the day, was being extorted again. So I was in a situation, I'm like, I got all of this stuff. What do? I could either allow myself to continue to get extorted, and this is karma. You got to handle the problem. Because I can't just go to the government or go to court and all of that type of stuff. They tell you that you got to go to court. If you're a sovereign, ain't going to go to no court. You're a sovereign. That means you are a nation within a nation. That means you're supposed to be able to get justice through your court, your own court. You can't go run into other people's courts to think you're going to get justice as a sovereign. I mean, you may go to, of course, all sovereigns are part of the world court, but at the end of the day, you got to figure out how you're going to get justice on your own. So I had to figure those things out. And I came to the conclusion that it was best, and it was a hard thing to do, but guess what I had to do, y'all? I had to leave all of that behind. All of this stuff in store. I'm talking about crystals, all kind of books, about like $2,000-$3,000 worth of books. And I got witnesses that I have these things. Some of the books I've showed you on videos, I don't even own those books anymore. I had to let them go. It was either let them go or continue to, and it wasn't like I couldn't afford to make the payments. It was only, $25 a month for storage. So, I mean, was not a lot of money at the time. So it wasn't about that, but it was about like progressing, where I was on a journey, where I wanted to get to spiritually. So this was my karma. This is what I had to go through. So that's interesting. I had to bring that story up because the book is called Karmic Astrology. And everything, even when you start to understand sexual rituals and sexual magic, this is all based upon karma. Now let's go into that. When you learn your past life karma, you learn a lot of things about the present life and how to walk in your present life. This is why it's important to learn your past life karma. You can check this book out. It tells you exactly how to figure out your nodes and things of that nature, but it's based on a Western perspective. So that's the only thing. It's based on a Western perspective. So, for you guys that, want to get more deeply into understanding your karma based upon your nodes, what I have to do is make separate videos about the nodes and how they play out in each particular sign from a 13 signs astrology perspective, and I'll offer that to you guys, and that's how I do that. But needless to say, you can go get Akashic Records readings to figure out your karma, or there's various different modes of doing it at the end of the day. But the bottom line is that when you talk about sexuality, this is based upon karma and sexual orientation. Sex is all karmic. It's all karmic, okay? So you can't judge a person for how they perform sexually or how they demonstrate themselves sexually. You just can't do it because it's all karmic. And sexual rituals and people that engage in sexual rituals, this is karmic. And actually sexual rituals can be used to clear certain karma. Sexual rituals can be healthy for certain people. You see, because especially if you know how to get into the sexual ritual, and you into the sexual ritual with someone or both parties are conscious, you can clear a lot of karma through sexual ritual. And different signs like different aspects of sexual ritual are attracted to different aspects of just sexuality in general. Every astrological sign has a different sexual orientation. So say for instance you may be a Leo, and Leos are very imaginative and very creative. So Leos, they're the type of individuals where they like to role play. You see, and they can get into sexual ritual through role playing. There's different ways to do sexual ritual. You may think sexual ritual is like all serious and and you gotta like dress up in a certain all black and wait till the sky and the moon is a certain orientation or full moon or whatever the case may be before you get engaged into sexual ritual. But it's not like that. There's different forms of sexual ritual. Some of them don't even involve being penetrated or penetrating someone, because sex is mental. Some signs like mind sex, like Aquarius is. Leos, they like to role play. I can go through all of them for you just to kind of give you an idea of what each sign would like as far as different sexual rituals. Leos like to role play. Aquariuses, they like mind sex. They need mental stimulation. You see, you gotta have Aries. Of course, now Aries, men or women, of course, more physical sexual rituals are going to please them because they like physical. Aries is a very physical sign, so at some point they're going to need some physical hands-on type of stuff, as far as doing different sexual rituals for them. So this may be experiment with different positions, having sex in various different wild places. These all can be sexual rituals, like things of that nature. You get into Taurus. Taurus, they're very secretive about their sexuality, but they're the type of individuals that like to do very long sexual rituals. What I mean by that is that the Taurus type of individual, like they want to engage in sexual rituals that may last for hours. Like this is like the Taurus type of energy. Same thing with Scorpio. They like to engage in, because they're involved in like energy. They're very attuned to energy. Tauruses are magnetic and they receive a lot of energy. Scorpios, they give a lot of energy. The reason I'm bringing up Scorpio is because Scorpio is the opposite of Taurus. So is a Fucus. Scorpio and a Fucus are 180 degrees from Taurus. So they like the whole energy exchange, which takes sex goes in levels. The longer you have sex, the more energy and more new type of energy you can experience. You can have sex, and if you do it right for a certain period of time, where you could be walking around like higher than somebody snorting some cocaine or smoking a blunt, just off of engaging in deep sexual rituals. And Tauruses, they know all about this, so they like timed out type of sexual rituals where it takes a lot of time to fulfill them. The Geminis, they like doing sexual rituals that are hands-on. They can get stimulation from using their hands and putting their hands on people. Like say for instance, they're into massage therapy or something like that. The Gemini, that's engaging in sexual ritual to them. So they may not necessarily get, have to penetrate someone is what it is to feel erotic. They can become a massage therapist and get just as much orgasmic energy from just putting their hands on someone or getting hands put on them without necessarily getting stimulated, like, through the phallus or vagina type of thing. So these are different sexual rituals. Cancers, they like to cuddle, and they like to feel good. You got to hold Cancer. And this is all karma associated with that, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm going to go through the rest of the signs. I'm going to do this quickly because I don't want this to be long. But then you have Virgos. Virgos are mental, so you got to stimulate them mentally. They like talking about it, but they're physical too. So the sexual ritual is kind of like two parts with Virgo. First part is you having sex with them through their mind before you even have sex with them. That's how you got to look at it. You targeting them through their mind and having sex with their mind, so they're very tantric. This goes into mental tantra. And then they want to, of course, engage in the physical act. So Virgos, and they're very shy and secretive about their sexuality, so you have to bring it out, Virgo. But their sexual ritual, all of it starts in the mind for their sexual ritual. So getting into Scorpio, we spoke about Libras. Libras, again, they're very mental. Libra is actually an extension of Virgo. So they're just as mental as Virgo. It's a mental sign, and they're ruled by Venus, so they need to feel some form of compassion and love. And not only that, but they need to be mentally stimulated first for their sexual ritual. Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign. So Sagittarius is, some people could say it can be very freaky, and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, Sagittarius, they have a very strong sex drive. They need to be physically physically amplified or physically activated is what it is. That's the word I'm looking for. They need to be physically activated. Being a Sagittarius, and their erotic zones are around their legs and their leg areas or whatever. So the thing about them is, yeah, you can put your hands on the Sagittarius, but be careful because they want to go all the way with it. They need to be physically activated. They may need, like the males may need a strip tease. You know, the females, you can massage them, and that's their sexual ritual type of thing. So they need to be physically activated as a part of their sexual ritual. Capricorns is an earth sign, and their whole body is an erotic zone. So with a Capricorn, they have to be activated through the physical body. Capricorns are very physical, but they like cuddling and affection. And don't let their hardness and their brashness fool you, because they will fool you. They're the opposite of Cancer. So Cancer, you know, they want to be held and they want to be, you know, cuddled and all of that. But then Cancer, their secret part is they like it rough though. You know, like after the fact type of thing. They want, you know, the rough action, but they want to be held first. Capricorns, they may come off like they just want to be, well, for the women, they want to be striked hard, which is to fuck. Because people say, why are you using the term fuck? Fuck just means to strike hard. So they may like to be striked hard or fuck, but really at the end of the day, they like affection. They want to be held. You know, like they want to be talked to during sex, and you know, you express how much you love them. These are all sexual rituals, believe it or not. For all of these particular signs, we talked about Aquarius and Pisces. This is the dreamer. So you can get a Pisces. Pisces are the type of individuals that can be in long distance relationships and have sex in the mind through a long distance relationship. So you could be on the phone with a Pisces and tell them some stuff and then kind of just leave it alone, and they'll still be planning it out in their head. They have a hard time letting go of certain things. They keep a lot of memories, and memories play out in their subconscious mind. So their rituals are subconscious for Pisces. So all sex is a ritual at the end of the day. This is how you have to look at it. No matter how you square it up, all sex is a ritual, and there are certain rituals, like I said, to clear certain karma that people have. So people that may have been in situations where they've dealt with sex with the same sex and they felt like they had a need to be with the same sex to feel penetration or to feel some form of stimulation from the same sex. This comes from past life karma. This comes from a different past life orientation. You may have been an individual, say for instance, if you were a male and you wanted to feel some type of stimulation, you know, in your G-spot, essentially, you may have been a female in the past life, and you may have felt that. You may not have been the giver in various different past lives because of your Akashic records of who you are. You may have been a male. You may have been a female and exist in a female body, and this may be your first male body, you know, that you exist in like several different incarnations. So that particular, you may have been heavily into sex as a female, so you may have karma associated with needing to feel what females feel, and the stimulation that females feel during sex. And that's all it is at the end of the day. So you're saying, well, people, so, you know, when they talk about people that get on the director's couch and they got to do this and they got to do that to get a deal, I'm pretty sure most of those people want to do that stuff. Because you don't have to do anything in Hollywood to make it. Because that's where most people, when they talk about sexual rituals, they want to know what's going down in Hollywood. You don't have to do anything in Hollywood to make it. Most of these people, they want to do this stuff. And you just want to hear about it because you're getting off thinking about it, really. That's why people like making these Illuminati videos about people getting on a director's couch and they had to do X, Y, and Z. You get off in your mind. That's sexy to you. The fact that they had to do X, Y, and Z to get this particular deal. Now, don't get me wrong. There is a ritual behind it. Of course, in the ancient Egyptian text, they talk about the opening of the mouth ceremony, where everyone had to basically ride or to straddle the Netiru, or which some people will call the Neter, but it's actually pronounced Netiru. They had to straddle the Netiru or ride the Netiru in order to move up. This is what the true opening of the mouth ceremony is about. Some of them had to give oral sex to the Netiru, and they said, well, that's not what we saw. In the opening mouth ceremony, it didn't say nothing about that on Wikipedia when I looked it up. You wasn't there. You haven't really been initiated into any Egyptian mystery schools and things of that nature, but believe it, the opening of the mouth ceremony is not talking about this mouth, even though it may deal with this mouth. It's talking about the mouth down there, whether it's going to be your anus or your vagina. This is the opening of the true mouth. That's what they're talking about, and they did that because you had to give him some power. If you wanted to get some power, you got to give something to get power. See, and he, as an Atiru, feeds off of your energy and gets more power and becomes more powerful when you do that. So this is why people do that, and that's more of a darker energy exchange, like we talked about in the last video, that comes from the South Pole aspect of your human body. This is where dark energy is located, and it has to be released at the end of the day. Just like you get light energy and stimulation from your crown chakra when you hear positive knowledge, enlightening knowledge, uplifting stories. This is releases positive energy that's already in you. It has to be released, and it creates a halo around you. With some people, they have karma with dark energy located on the South Pole aspect of the body. And in this book, it talks about the South Node and the North Node in astrology. And the South Node deals with what you are, the lessons that you've learned in past lives and the imprints that you have in this life based upon those lessons. So some people, they can't move on into their incarnation in this life because they have dark energy in the South Node part of their body that they have to unlock, and most of this is through sex. Why do you think your sexual organs are located in the South Node aspect of your body? Sex helps you to build character and to figure out who you are. All sexual ritual, all sex is a ritual. All sex. You have to start looking at it like that. It's not because when you get into the sexy mode, you are casting a spell. You're putting a spell on someone. Or you are receiving a spell. You putting a spell on yourself. You become something different. The reason why a lot of people don't thrive sexually is because they have a lot of sexual guilt, because in religion they keep it a secret. You're not even supposed to talk about sex. So it's like a lot of people haven't been trained on how to have sex. Grown men, 50 and 60 years old, you ain't never felt no real live sexual energy like that. These Egyptians, how do you think they were so creative and built such magnificent sculptures? Is because they were deeply into the sexual experience. That's why they had to open the mouth ceremony. Yeah, you had to be initiated to get into it and all of that, but they were deep on the sexual energy thing. Same thing with Taoism, the aspects of Hinduism. They're deep in the sexual experience, so this is why they're so smart. You see, there's a lot that people don't understand about sex and stuff that a lot of it I can't even really talk about publicly. Like, I just can't, because some information has to be gauged and given to people that you feel like are ready to hear it. And I don't want to say certain stuff publicly, but just to know that all sex is a ritual, so you can't go around judging this person and that person. Like, you got people running around here saying that Will Smith or somebody did something to Quincy Jones, and with a person, like, what the fuck does it matter to you? At the end of the day, as far as what they did or didn't do. That's why I like this whole Illuminati thing about what Hollywood people have to do to get into Illuminati and all this. Like, so what? What is that? How are you learning from that? What did you learn from that? At the end of the day, say for instance, these Hollywood artists do have to do these things. What did you learn from that? At the end, is this just gossip? That's what you guys doing? You like watching these documentaries because you like hearing about what everybody did and what ritual they had to go through and X, Y, Z. Do you have to go through a ritual to become a grown man? Do you have to go through a ritual to get your master's degree? You don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about celebrities, but what ritual did you have to go through? Because I know everybody that got a master's degree had to go through a ritual. Then you had to go through a ritual to get that? Yeah, you did. Then you had to go through a ritual to become a doctor. Then you take an oath to get your bachelor's. So you took allegiance to something, so why are you getting off on what these Hollywood actors are doing? Didn't you take an oath to get into the church? Did you sign off on something to become, when you got saved? Did you create a contract? They get energy from that. Oh, that's an exchange. It's not as severe as what, like, you hear about what certain celebrities have to do. It's not as severe as that. But you're talking about millions of dollars, which is a lot, millions of dollars of energy. You want millions of dollars worth of energy, you're going to have to do something really spectacular to receive that type of energy. So this is what they're into. This is the religion that they're into. And the thing is that certain things can't happen on the planet, y'all, until this sexual energy is released. because this is the same energy that when we go through magnetic shifts and pole shifts, this is the same energy that's experienced, and these two energies fight each other. These two energies kind of like have a battle every so many thousands of years to see which energy is going to dominate. And the thing is, it has to happen. So it's like, is the dark energy going to dominate the planet, or is light energy going to dominate the planet? And the thing is that both, you have to release both. And it has to happen to you first. Everything that happens to the earth happens to you. So will darker energy dominate you? Or will light energy dominate you? That's what it comes down to. You never know until you really get truly into your karma, which is getting truly into your sexuality. If you don't want to get into astrology or anything else like that, but you want to understand your karma as an individual, get into your sexuality. Like, invest into it. I'm serious. Like, you don't have to know nothing about Leo and this and that and all of that to figure out your life mission and purpose. Invest into your sexuality. That's going to tell you what type of person you are. Who you are in bed tells you a lot. And not only that, that's going to activate the rest of your chakras to help you to become more of a creative being. Just like you guys know, I put together a sexual ritual. It went successful for me. I messed up once, I'm not going to lie. I spilled once. Throughout that whole, it was 31 days altogether to the next moon or whatever. So it went well for me. I mean, for me, it still went well, and I finished the ritual and did my ashes to the ancestors, poured my libations with my semen, and went through some things or whatever. But a lot was revealed to me during that time of what I wished for. I have not attracted what I wished for yet. Just keeping that away real, but soon I will. But I learned so much about myself during that time that it's almost like the goal that I set for myself. What I ended up happening is that it's like I feel like I've already attracted it, which is another story in and of itself. But that I learned all of that through just a sexual ritual, a basic sexual ritual. So invest into your sexuality. That's why on this channel we talk a lot about sex from a spiritual point of view, because sexuality is true spirituality. So you have to invest into that if you want to grow and know who you are. And sex is associated with the 8th house. The 8th house is also the secrets. This is the house of secrets. So if you want to know the secrets that you are involved in, the secrets of yourself, the best way for them to be revealed to you is through your sexual habits and through your sexual experiences. And even a lot of times through your sexual orientation. Because there was a time, I'll say this, and I have to say this, and then I'll go ahead and shut down. There was a time on this planet where there were hermaphrodites, hermaphrodites. I've talked about this on other videos. There were beings, y'all, that had what we consider male and female parts existing as one being. What if you were one of those beings in your past life? Wouldn't that change what you're supposed to be doing in life? If you knew that you were one of those beings truly in a past life, would that really truly change everything about you? And that would make you look at society different. You would have to become more creative. Because what you're going to find out, we have to create a new world. You're going to find out that once you get deep into your sexual orientation or your sexual experience in general and find out who you are, it's going to cause you to have to create your own lane, just like I had to do. I mean, I'm just keeping it real with you. If I was, I would tell you, I mean, I love women. I've been a male for like a lot of incarnations from my research and even from my readings. And like, I've been in situations where I've had, orgies and, more than one women, and been in a lot of different scenarios in past lives of things that I have to understand and deal with. So this helps me to shape and mold what I have to experience in this life. But I've always loved the beautiful women around me in general, and have picked up on sexual energy from just being around women. That's the type of individual I was, because I was always into spirituality in past lives, but then I was always a lover of women. The thing is, that's me knowing that. So what does that say about me? Being in a society that it's not acceptable to be a more than one woman. You're a dog, you're a pimp, you're a cheater, you're this and you're that. So what do I have to do? Have to change and shape and mold my reality so that it fits my past life experience, so that I can get the necessary lessons in this life. Because if I live the life that's already set for me, which is the life based upon monogamy and all of that type of stuff, Christianity essentially is what it is, I'm not going to be able to get certain lessons, am I? So that's the same thing that goes for you. Your thing may be just like why these transsexuals and they fighting this stuff. because they may have been transsexuals in past lives. So they need this world to have a lane for them. So this is how karma plays out with sexual ritual, man. This is a very interesting topic. Like, really, at the end of the day, I mean, I could say a lot about it because this is what really shape and mold our society. Like, people talk about, it's so much that I could talk about. I can't say here, man. I want to say so much. I'm telling you, I may do a private video or something like that, and just, have it to where it's like for sale or something. So then it's like, it's not public then, so people I can say what I want in private and keep it all the way 100 or something. I can just pipe through my website even, some private stuff or whatever. So I can break this stuff down for you guys, man. Like, this is a lot with sexual rituals, sexual experience, and the karmic blockages associated with it, and what we can create once we free ourselves from that. So when you understand the North Node and the South Node, that's understanding the South Pole and the North Pole of your body. That's understanding the South Pole of the Earth and the North Pole. Which one is going to dominate? The darker energy, there's darker sexual rituals, and there's more mental, lighter sexual rituals. Which one dominates in you? Only you can ask yourself that. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm going to leave you in the greetings of Hotep. Namaste. Peace out.